Hey folks, today we're going to be looking at the Pack 3 from Agora Models. So if you haven't seen this series yet, we actually did the first 2 packs so far, and it actually led us to this so far. So we have the engine inside, we have our engine cowling on here. We can actually pull this apart and see the insides. So just in case you didn't see this last time, just take a quick look at that engine. I mean, those details are just incredible that they put in this kit. I think it's really beautiful, and it does actually go. It does have a motor inside there, so we can actually just turn this on, and we have a working engine. Really nice. That's where we were last time, just to get you guys caught up. And there actually is a nice breeze coming off the back of this too. But that's where we're at now, and we're going to continue on with Pack 3. So in Pack 3, we're going to be building up the cockpit mostly this time. So we're just going to set this off to the side here, because we won't be using that here for a little while. This is a smaller box because we have a lot of little parts. So we have quite a few stages in here. Agora gives you quite a bit. It might not look like a lot just because these are small parts, but these are all the cockpit parts. But what's beautiful about Agora's business model is that you build up a model in 12 months versus, you know, some others might be in 24. So it's really nice. They give you lots to do. So we have plenty of stuff in here to work on. So we're just going to set this off to the side, and we're going to get started here with, I got to figure out which number I'm on. It looks like number 16 is our first one. So that's where we're going to start. Alrighty, pack 16 here. We have a couple of LEDs and some guns. It looks like this is the guns with the LEDs that light up on this kit. So let's take a look at the instructions and we'll put these together. So the first thing we're going to do is take this piece of the machine gun and the barrel, and they actually just snap fit together. So at least that's how it shows anyway. They just kind of fit in here. We're not gluing them down or anything. We're just setting them in here. Oh, there's a peg on the back side. Whoop. So there's a peg right on the back here. Back side right there's a peg that we're looking at right here. We're going to line that up in here. So it doesn't show to glue, but it doesn't look like it's a snap fit to me, which is interesting. So it does say don't glue. So no, wait, maybe I'm supposed to put it in this one. Nope, but even here it doesn't snap in. Okay, so you basically have 2 halves of each one, and they eventually will snap together, but we need to do some work here first, because oh wait, actually look at that, it actually is staying in there. Okay, so that stays in there, and it does show using this one here though as well. Whoop. Just set that in there. I don't feel like this one's going to stay though. I definitely feel like I need to put a little bit of CA in here. So why would we not glue it? I mean, there's no reason not to glue it. I would feel much better if I just put a little dab of CA on this. Okay, the CA doesn't want to cooperate. Little dab of CA. Make me feel much better. Just a small dab, not a lot. As long as it's lined up on them pins, we'll be alright. Don't glue yourself to the model. I'm not really sure why they say not to glue that part. It just kind of seems silly not to. So anyway, that makes me feel so much better. Okay. The next step is to take the LEDs that are included in here. There's 2 of them, and these are actually going to light up the machine guns like they're firing. We're actually just going to bend them at a 90-degree angle. So I have my Tamiya bending pliers. These are really handy. You guys, if you ever watch any of my tank videos, you'll see that I use these quite often for bending photo etch. They're just really good bending pliers, and we're just going to kind of grab it back here just a little bit and just bend it 90 degrees like that. Gonna do the same thing on both of them real quick. Both bent over. Perfect. And then these actually will go right here, which is why we bent them the way we did. They're actually going to go right in there like so. I might actually need to bend these a little bit closer to the light actually, because there's not enough room in there. So let me just put a dab of CA on this thing real quick. So now I actually bent those a little bit closer, so now they're going to sit right inside here like so. I'll do that for both of them. They're just going to sit in there for now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this outer housing here and match it up. So now if you look, there's an R right here. So we're going to look for the R on the other one. That makes it a lot easier. Zoom in here and you guys can see. We have, that's L. And that's okay. So okay, they're both L. That's not what I was thinking would happen. That's an L. I feel like we should have another R here. So it looks like we might have gotten 2 of the same part, because we have a male and a female end here, and this is left and right, L and R, and then this here on both sides is L. So I'm gonna have to reach out to Agora and see if they can send me a right, because I only have one. It might look a little funny if I put this on both ends. So I can tell from the instructions there's supposed to be a different part here. So we're gonna attach the one that's correct, and then for the other one we'll just set it aside for now until we get the right parts. So just showing how this does go together. So the left one I have is correct, it's the right one that I'm missing. So here's our left. We'll just put our LED inside there, and then there's the other piece of the housing that goes over top. So we just set that down in there. And then put that over top of there. And this we are going to glue. Okay, hold on. So let's just put a dab of CA right here. Glue that in place. Maybe a dab here too. There we go. That looks pretty good. So that's one of the machine guns. And if I can get the top to seal, probably just need to dab a CA in there and that'll seal right up. After a little dab of CA, we have a nice closed up machine gun with an LED inside of it. Looks pretty good. There actually is one other piece that goes on here as well, and that is this mounting bracket that actually just goes right here where this hole is. Just sets in there, and there's actually an alignment. There's a male and a female on either end, so it just aligns right up for you, and those just go together. We'll put a little bit of CA on there to hold it, but see, gonna need some CA. Let's just give that a slightest dab. Put that in place. And the reason you have to use CA and not so much styrene cement, because these are all ABS parts. So you're going to want to use CA. But there you go. That's what she actually looks like when she's done. And this is the left one, so then obviously the right one will go right next to it. So need to do that. And my barrel's a little bit crooked. Maybe that's why they tell you not to glue it. I don't know. But you can always bend it and not break it. Make it straight. That looks better. So that's what they'll look like when they're done. I got to reach out to Agora and get that other piece because it's backwards. Alright. Alright, so on to stage 17 we have the engine mount assembly, and we also have a gun sight that we're going to be mounting on here. So let's get this stuff out. And let's see how. Alright, so for the engine mount assembly we have essentially four parts I should say. We have this ring here, which we're going to keep the open part up top. I'm just going to dab in some CA into these holes a little bit. And I'm just using thick CA from Amazon, but really any thick CA will work. I definitely recommend thick, not thin, because this thick stuff takes it some time to set up, which gives you time to work. So how we want these parts to go together is so that they're kind of flaring out, not in. So when you put these parts in, there's a slight angle to the end of that nub. It should flare out. Okay, like so. And the other nice thing is, with the thick CA, it doesn't set up right away, but you can use a little bit of kicker, which I use in a blunt needle, to get it to set immediately. So basically once you get it in the position you want, you can hit it with that kicker and it goes right in place. Hardens immediately. I use it all the time for photo etch and whatnot on my tanks, but also works really well in this application. So same exact thing. I put these two together, hit it with some kicker. Kicker is a brand, I guess. Actually, it's just CA activating liquid, and then that'll set up for us real nice. And the third piece of these black pieces here goes in the bottom, which connects everything. So actually, there's three connecting spots. So we have right there, and actually, if you look here, there's like, it might be hard to see with the light because it's black. There is a spot here, and a spot here, where this stuff's going to connect to. A little bit of CA there. Now this one here we want to flare in. And this is why you want the thick CA, because you want to be able to work it into place. If you use thin stuff, it'll set really, really quickly, and you won't have any workability to your parts. So you want to be able to work your parts into place first. And there we go. That is the engine mount assembly. So that, I'll just let that dry. I mean, you can put some activating fluid on it, but that's it. That's that part. And that's how it should look. See how it's kind of like flared out? If you do it the other way, everything will be pointed towards the middle. You gotta make sure it's flared out. That's really, really important. And then for this next stage, we have this cover here. This is the machine gun cover, and we have the machine gun sight. This is for the gunner sight for inside the cockpit, which I think is really cool. So flip it like so, and this is actually going to get glued in place right like that. There. So we're just going to glue that down like we have everything else, just a little dab of CA. Glue that down in place. I just want to be careful I don't hit those clear parts that are on there, these little sights, because they don't move. I just don't want to put pressure on them and like break something. There we go. Snap down in there. That's going to be glued fast, and that looks really nice. Nice gunner sight. Why does it look crooked? We'll bend that. We'll bend that straight, or else he's going to be always shooting to the right, and that's no good. Unless he doesn't want to hit what he's aiming at. So, there we go. That's that stage complete. On to stage 18. We have some metal parts on stage 18. This is actually a die-cast part. This is metal. Painted metal, so this is the inside of the cockpit. So the next few stages are going to be the entirety of the cockpit. So we also got a baggie of screws, and we have this part here as well. So one thing with these screws is they've been giving me screws and then not exactly using them yet. So you want to make sure you note which screws are what, because eventually I'm sure they're going to call out for them. Though I think we're going to be using them here because we do have some metal parts. We're going to be screwing some things together. So the first step is we're actually going to take this metal bottom of the cockpit and we're going to install the sight glass here. So we're just going to put a little bit of CA around the outside there, and I'm using clear CA for all of this, just as a side note. So again, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I use a lot of like black CA for photo etch and stuff. But in this case, we're not going to do that because we're not going to be painting this model in its entirety. I do plan on doing a little bit of weathering and maybe a little bit of brush painting later on, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. So just a few really small dabs of CA on the ends, because we don't want the CA to get on like the glass portion that you're actually looking through the parts. So just a little bit of CA around the edges, and I mean the smallest little dabs, so that way you don't get any oozing over top of your glass. Okay. We have a couple other small little parts here that I've noticed. There's even like these really little like plugs. So we're going to be installing those here. So essentially this step here is to put some CA right here. Oop. So we're going to put just a dab here and here. It does say to glue this part in. And then we're going to take some pliers that I have laying around just to grab this part, because it is a pretty tiny part, and it actually goes in this way. Kind of like a rubbery material, which is interesting because it is like hoses or something. Alright, come on now. Go in your hole. There we go. Yeah, they are supposed to stand up just a hair. Like this one here, back here. Looks like it's standing up, and it's supposed to just a hair. And that comes down like so. Yep, just like that. Okay. Next we have the manual hydraulic pump. We're going to attach right here. Again, just a little dab of CA. I'm also going to put just a little tiny dab over here, and you'll see why here in a second. Because the way they molded this, again, it's very like rubbery material. Almost reminds me of like those Tamiya tracks on tanks. Very rubbery material. We're going to stick that down in there, and then what we're going to do is just hold that back there, where I put that little dab of CA on the back. I'm going to try to hold that in place so it glues fast. Come on now. I'm just going to pinch that there while I hit it with some activator. And hold that in place. There we go. Just going to put a little bit more here. I should put it on the bottom side. You can always glue, if you can get at the bottom, you can always put some CA on the bottom side too, to glue things in place. And then again, you'll see me use this a lot, which it's literally just a syringe that's a blunt tip on it, applicator tip. And I just suck up a bunch of activator fluid in there, and then I just use it for a while. That's actually the second time I've refilled that one, so it works really well. Anyway, there's that put in place. I think that looks pretty darn good. And then the other thing we have to do is put there's a handle, these handles here. Just glue the handle to the cockpit floor. So, looks like it's right there. I only see one. We have two, but I only see one. So, I'm not sure why we have two. Maybe it's because it's a small, flimsy part. I don't know. Would definitely make sense. This thing is really small. It's a very small part. This is a 1/18th scale airplane, and this is like a 1/35th scale tank part to me. Just seems really small. So we're going to put that handle in place. I'm going to turn it here in a moment. Again, that's why you want to use thick CA. Don't use thin stuff unless you have to. Like, thin stuff's great for like capillary action stuff if you're putting two things together and holding them, and then you want to hit it with real thin CA. But I tell you what, that stuff goes everywhere, and that's easily how you glue yourself to your model. Anyway, that's that stage complete. Alright, in this next stage, this is stage number 19, we have some more of the cockpit assembly. We have some more parts. This is a plastic, like ABS part, and then this is actually a die-cast part. And we got some more screws. Like I said in the last stage, we didn't actually use the screws, so I'm just going to set them to the side. We didn't use them last time. I'm sure we will soon. And actually we're going to. Yeah, we're going to be, in this case, not using that screw though. We're using a screw from a previous step. So this is why it's probably a good idea to organize these screws, because I think the screw I'm looking for is right there. Yeah. So the screw for this stage was something that was used in stage 17, or came in stage 17, and it is a 1707 screw, and the only one that looks like that is this guy here. There's only one of them. Oop, and it's this guy here. So, one of the bigger ones. So we are going to be using that in this stage. That's why I said before about I really should actually get a little box. I have them here, and then just label them with the number from the instructions so you can easily find which ones are which. So actually, what we're going to do is we're going to take the gunner sight that we made a little while ago, and we're actually going to attach that at this point here, right like so. Oop, there we go. So there's alignment holes here, real easy. Everything aligns right up. Set that in there, and then we're actually going to screw this together. We don't glue it. We're just going to screw it. No gluing, just screwing. And let's grab the correct size screwdriver here. So I actually got some Wera screwdrivers because I only had one VHA, and they're so hard to find like a decent set. So I actually have these Wera screwdrivers. Now we're going into plastic, which is why you don't see me using any 3-in-1 oil. I do have it here, but we're going into plastic, so we don't need it. Wow, these are really smooth. I almost feel like that's not the right screw, even though it's definitely depicted. I'm going to go back and look at stage 17 real quick. Yeah, so stage 17 only had 2 screws, and this is not the one. So I'm going to pull this screw back out. When I put it in, it kept spinning, which definitely tells me that it's not right, because it should go in and lock. And the other thing I should have noticed is, I'm pretty sure this is a metal screw, because the threads on it are really fine. It's a fine thread screw, which is usually for metal. So silly me. There I go. See, don't go by the pictures. Go by the actual number. So I went back to stage 17. These were the ones that came in stage 17. This is one of the correct screws. But I can tell you that the instructions do not look like this screw at all. It almost looks like a bolt head screw. So definitely used the wrong screw. But anyway, we're going to try this again. I will say this Wera screwdriver is really nice though. how you can apply pressure and screw this here together. No, wait, is that lined up right? Yeah. Okay. And the back of it turns as you're screwing this in, so it actually makes sense. Okay, that's what I was looking for. A little bit of resistance. And it only goes in so far and tightens, because that was a plastic screw. Your plastic screws are going to have a wider thread on them, and that looks really nice. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to take the other part that came in this stage, and we're going to add on the machine guns. So the only thing that stinks is we have that machine gun that's not good. So we're going to have to just attach the one we do have. So they actually attach right here on these parts here. So I think it goes in like this, right? So okay, so how this is going to work is we're going to take underneath here, if you can see, there's a little nub right there, right behind this wire. So if I had something that's not as fat as my fingers to point with, we're going to point with this thing, right? This little nub here, right behind these wires. That's what's going to lock into this hole here. So we're going to lower this down in here in a way that we can get that nub. The wires almost need to come together. Some more for the LED. And just push that down inside there. Please? Can we do that? Yeah. There we go. Snaps right down in there and then it goes back. Okay, there we go. Snaps down in. So we're going to hit this with a little CA, and then you can see how we have our wire coming here, and I think this is going to run down through there. Now if I had my other one, I would attach it here, but like I said, I do not have the other machine gun, so we're essentially just going to set this off on the side until I get that the machine gun piece figured out. So I don't think it's that big a deal. We'll get this figured out. That's it. I'm just going to hit it with some CA. Alright, on to stage 20. I see a control board in here, or at least a circuit board in here. So we have this, I'm pretty sure it's for the machine guns that we just put together. We have a nice shiny plastic part here, and some other small little parts, and some more screws that we may or may not be using in this stage. So as I mentioned, I just sent Agora a note on this machine gun, so it was really easy to actually just fill it out and attach a picture and say, hey, this is the part I was missing, and I got two of this part, and send it off, and we'll see what they say. So but in the meantime, we're going to attach this in place. This actually goes up underneath this wire, so we want to make sure this wire is out of the way. This is going to sit right down in here, and then we're going to take two of the 020 02 screws, which are those the ones that came with this one. So I just want to double check we are using two of the three screws that came in this stage to put this together. So we had a baggie of 3 little screws, and that's what we're going to use to attach this guy. So one other thing we need to do though is we need to basically get all these wires running down through this wireway. Wire management is going to be very, very important on this whole thing, because there's going to be a bunch of wires that are going to all lead down to the center of the plane, basically the fuselage. So forgive me if I say anything wrong about airplanes. I'm still learning. I'm no airplane expert. I'm not even a tank expert, but I'm better at, I know more about tanks than I know about airplanes, put it that way. So I don't know how else we're going to get it to get these wires kind of funneled down through there. I think we just have to screw it fast. So let's just grab our screwdrivers here, pick up our screws, and put those in place. These are really nice. I can see why these are so popular. Really, really nice screwdrivers. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, let's see if we can't. I don't know that we can route them all exactly there, just because, like, in other words, get them in a straight line to go there, but I think we can at least do something like this here, where they're out of the way. Yeah. As long as they're out of the way and they don't get pinched when we go to put on whatever's going to go here, as long as that's not the case, I think we'll be okay. And from what I can see, we basically have to get at least like this black one up and out of the way. We just don't want to have anything on the face here, because that's where I'm afraid something's going to get pinched. So just use our little tweezers here to work these wires in place. How's that? Oh, now I had you in place. Why are you moving? Just trying to work these into their little channel as best I can. Because like I said, they'll pinch if I don't. That should work right like that. It basically shows it that as long as they're not along this face here, it'll be okay. Alright. That's that. Set that aside for now. Alright, so bringing back the cockpit floor that we worked on in the last stage, we have a few parts to attach. We got this little, looks like some kind of lever. I'm going to put a dab of CA on there. And this is actually going to go right in here. Just like so. And we have this linkage here, which I think is really cool. I love seeing like the inner workings. Now this here, it doesn't say to glue, so we're just going to snap this here on the back here. And that just sits in place there, like that. And then we have what looks like some pedals, to me. Call them pedals. I'm sure these are a control. Again, I'm no airplane expert, but we're going to put a little bit of CA on there. And we're going to just pop that in place like that. And these are the controls, so yeah, I would assume they're pedals. It says these are the controls, okay? Now the next stage, it has us attaching the machine gun piece here to the, well, to this top piece here. So we have to run these wires through this wireway here. Just run them through there. I'll show you that in a second. I'll run that through, but I gotta find this screw, so just give me a second to find the screws. Alright, so we're gonna run this wire here from the machine gun down through. And this is the machine gun controls, so it's okay that we don't have that other machine gun right now. It's okay because we don't need it right this second. So I just ran those wires down through there, and then you can see this is just going to sit in place on the front. There's two spots there. It's going to sit on the front one, and then we're going to bring some screws in from the bottom. Okay, so I was a little confused with the screws. I will say the screws aren't labeled, so you kind of have to keep track of them, because they give them to you by what stage they're in. So every time you get a stage of screws, the thing I need to get in the habit of, I need to go just go do and stop making excuses. I need to just grab these screws, go back through them, and put them into bins with numbers on them. So I think that's going to help me out a lot, because I actually lost a few minutes there just looking for which screws were the right screws. So the screws you're supposed to use here are the ones that came in stage 18. So I know I still have some screws from like the first stage in a baggie that I actually did label. So one easy trick you can do if you don't want to put them in a bag necessarily, or like a container, is just take a pen and mark on there exactly which stage they came from, because that's how they're going to reference them in the instructions. So anyway, after that's attached, this is what we have. We have the basis of our cockpit. So these wires aren't going to be there, obviously. They're just going to hang out down below there. That looks pretty neat though, I think. So again, I'm sure Agora is going to fix my issue and send me that other machine gun, so I can actually mount it, because I realized that the piece I'm missing is actually what allows it to mount and click into this spot here. So definitely going to need that. So at this point, this stage is complete, and we still have this leftover part. So again, let's not forget to mark our screws, because I think we have one spare screw after this stage. So that's it. On to stage 21. We're going to be doing, we got some little gauges and panels and whatnot there. It's pretty cool. More parts. More details. Little gauges and stuff. That's pretty neat. Let's see how they go together. Alright, so with this instrument panel, we have these little panels that actually go on the inside here. Okay, so what we're going to do is they're actually just going to set on the inside. The larger hole, so there's two holes here. The larger one goes towards the inside. So these essentially just snap in here like that. But I think I have them backwards. So hold on. We are going to glue these in place. They don't just snap in, although it looks like it, because that one there's holding in pretty well. I should have them backwards, because I thought, man, that gauge looks upside down. Alright, so here we go. That looks like a fuel gauge, but again, I could be wrong. I'm no airplane expert. But there we go. Instrument panel there. Same thing here. Put the big hole towards the inside and snap that in place. I'm going to put a little CA on the back side just to hold it in place. But man, that looks really nice. It's actually like over top of clear plastic. You see that? It's actually pretty neat. Just going to put a little dab of CA here, an inconspicuous spot, just to hold that in place. Yep, and then we'll hit it with some solution to make sure it hardens right away, because I'm less worried about this falling out, more worried about me touching it and then gluing myself to the model. So we have that. Oop, we have that. Now the next step is to simply drop it into this guy here. So we have literally that, and there's our entire instrument panel. So again, we're going to put some CA down first in a few spots right where we just saw that touching, which is right there and there. Just little dabs, just to hold it in place. Whoop, there. Set our instrument panel down, and voila, we have ourselves a little instrument panel. I love the little details on that. I mean, I've had to paint some of those details before, but I can't get that good. Decals are definitely the way to go, and that looks really good. That is stage 21 complete. Alright, for stage 22, let's just zoom out of here. We're getting really close. Getting up close and personal here. So, we have what looks to be part of the frame of the cockpit in stage 22, and we also have some more little tiny itty bitty parts that I'm sure make up some really cool details. So I'm going to go ahead and drop them out of here for now. No screws in this stage, so we're probably gluing everything. And this looks like another short stage, so we just have a few parts to put in place. So we have this part that goes here. I'm just obviously setting them in place. Let's zoom back in so you guys can see that. There we go. And then we have this small part here. That's going to sit right on here. And this little guy, whew, that's a really little guy. He's going to go right there. So let's grab our tweezers and we're going to use some CA. I think we should probably paint up those nubs or something, like those little switches, so they're not all black, so you can actually see the detail. I think that'd be a really nice little thing to do. What do you guys think? I'm not saying I have to do it right now, but we'll have to do it before we close everything up so we can actually get at it. Because I'd hate to lose them details. So the one downside to painting things black is you just lose all the detail. Okay, I need to put CA in a different place here because it's not catching here. So let's just put some down there. We go. Put that back in place. Come on now. There we go. And then this last little piece, this guy goes right here. And it's a half circle shape, so it's pretty easy to put down. And the other thing you can see here is that there's like a lip on the left side as we're putting it in here, as we're facing. So simple as that. Beautiful. Little tiny details. I love it. And that's that stage complete. That's stage 21. Alright, in stage 23 we have some more really tiny parts to work with here. So we have another LED. That's a pretty neat looking one. I'm not sure what this is for. It's for the cockpit. I mean, I know that much, but that's really neat looking. And then we have some really tiny parts. So more little detail parts for inside the cockpit. So I think this is going to be another quick one. We're going to be attaching more parts to this piece of the cockpit wall that we started in the last stage. So we essentially have two levers that I see right off the bat, and we have 3 levers, and we have something here. So it looks like this piece we're going to just attach right here, like so. So actually we can glue that right in place real easy, real quick. Just gonna glue that. Right there. Hit it with some of this stuff. Another nice trick, if you want to, you don't want to do it how I'm doing it here, you can actually put some of this activator on one piece and then glue on the other piece and then sandwich them together and they'll instantly bond. Nice little trick. The next piece is this lever here. So let's go ahead and put some CA here. Did I get that in the hole? I got it near the hole. Close enough. Let's just spin this guy around. Put him in place. It just feels like I'm putting together a 35th scale with all these little details. And interior details at that, you know. It's pretty impressive to see this amount of detail on the inside of a cockpit on a scale this big. It's just impressive to me because I like interior details. If you haven't figured that out by now, looking at my channel and all the interior tanks I've done, they're beautiful, time consuming, but they're gorgeous. I just want to make a little bit of progress on some other models I have, because you know, when you're building all these models and you know, you're like so excited for the next model, for something else, and your stash starts growing faster than what you can build them, you know you have a problem. So it's like I need to build faster. I mean, you have 2 options: stop building your stash, or start building more models. And I like to build the models, so I'm just going to put a little bit of thin stuff on here. The reason I'm using thin at this point is because it's already in place. But thin can get away from you really, really fast. Thin CA can, so you got to be very careful with that. It has like a mind of its own. It just wants to go where it wants to go. And it can be a little bit scary. Hit this with some CA activator. Okay, now the next lever is the straight one. So take notice, this one's a little bit bent and this one here is straight. So this straight one goes right here. There we go. Nice snap into place. Got some, I already have some C on there. We're going to hit with some thin just because there's a nice seam there that I can hit, and then use a little bit of activator to make sure that's taken care of. And if you don't want to have that activator just sitting on your plastic, you're afraid of it doing anything, which it won't. I mean, I'm just using like the very basic CA activator, and it's never hurt any of my models. It will eat paint off though if you have something painted, and I don't mean like this plastic injection painting, I mean like acrylics. But anyway, and that's it for that piece. And then we have, oh, that's a cockpit light. That's what that is. All right, let's take a look at this. So it looks like essentially this cockpit light goes right here. Right here. So we're essentially just going to, I guess, wire it this way. Would make more sense. Run that wire through there, and then set that in place. And that just lines right up. I mean, it just literally falls right into place. That's so nice. And you don't glue it. You just set it in there. It just snaps right in place. That's so nice. Very nice. I like it. Alright, that's it for that stage. That is stage 22. 23 complete. 23 complete. Beautiful. There we are. Alright, for stage 24 we have another piece of the cockpit frame, some more details, some little parts. I see lots of little knobs and stuff. I think what I'm going to do before we actually assemble it is I'm just going to get some dry brush paint out, like silver dry brush paint, and we're going to go over like these little knobs and stuff, add a few things. Look, I don't have any historical photos to show me what colors these were, and honestly it's going to be covered up later, so the idea is just to bring out a little bit of detail as we put it together. So these are the parts we got for this stage, and let's see how she goes together. So I realized, after I almost made a mistake, that this part that came in this stage here, we were in stage 24, this piece here, this handle, this lever, this actually goes on the cockpit piece we've been building up. So when we just put the light in, this actually goes up top here. So that's really important to note. So we're going to put that here with some CA first. Just put a dab on there and then snap that in place. There we go. And just for my peace of mind, a little bit of activator. And that's where that piece goes. Simple as that. So now this piece is going to be set aside, or thrown aside, however you want to do it, dropped aside. This next piece is actually going on to the cockpit, the other cockpit wall. So we have this little round piece here, and we have a big and a little peg, and there's a little notch here, or the handle part goes up. So we're just going to snap that into place. It does require glue, but I'm going to glue it from the back side. Why? I just felt like it this time. There's not always a rhyme or reason for doing things. Sometimes you just do it because you do it. Alright, and then set that piece aside just for a moment, because that's actually done for this stage. Just adding that little wheel on there. Then we have a little tiny, let me grab my tweezers so I can show you guys this, another really tiny gauge. I love these little gauges and the clear plastic they're on. These little gauges are so beautiful in terms of the detail, because I'm a sucker for details. So these simply just go in behind here, and we are going to glue them in place, but they just go in right behind here. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some CA on that peg right there, because it is a clear part and it's a dial. We don't want to go crazy with the glue. Just slide down over that peg. Beautiful. Snap that into place. Make sure they're lined up. And there we go. More gauges. I just love those little details. I know they might be difficult to see in the finished model because it's going to be on the inside. And again, that's pretty much how it is with all interiors. Like, it's something fun to look at. And it's honestly why it's good to share it like this, because, you know, everyone actually gets to enjoy and appreciate the interior details before you end up closing it up. But again, you can still see inside this plane when it's done. And that's it for stage 24. Alright, in stage 25 we have some more small little parts, and we have another cockpit light. So I'm assuming we're going to be attaching all these parts to this cockpit that we started in the last stage, these parts we have here. Let's see if I'm right. Well, by golly, I'm right. So we're going to start with these little parts in this baggie. I tell you what, if there's one thing you'll definitely gain from a partwork build, is lots of little baggies like this. If you ever need little screw baggies, you're going to have a metric ton of these when you're done. Anyway, this silver part is the first piece we're going to attach. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but it says glue the emergency floating gear cock and piping. So I guess that's what it is. This goes right here. Oh wait, that doesn't go right there. It goes right here. Make sure you get your gear cock in the right place. Alright. Now, there we go. Next piece is the throttle lever and mixture control lever. I know that's because the instructions tell me this. Otherwise I wouldn't know this at all. So this piece goes right here. I'm just going to glue that in place. Just put a little dab of CA. Doesn't take much to hold these parts in, especially since they fit so well. Okay, there we go. I say that and I'm like, why isn't this going in? There's some good CA on the back. I'm just going to give it a little extra and then a quick zip. That stuff, and then we have this lever. This lever goes in that first hole I was talking about. This guy, come on, goes right like this actually. Well, I should have hit that with some zip. That's still moving. Here, hold still. Alright, so yep, this is going right here. This is the throttle lever going in right here. It's nice because everything's like half moon shaped, so it's kind of like, you know, it not only positions it but actually, you know, gives you a sense of direction as to which way it should turn as well. It almost looks like a shower head. it just looks like a shower head in a shower. Okay, that's that part. And then we have one more part here, because it doesn't mention putting the light in, so we have that. We have this fuel tank switching pipe. Just reading the instructions. I'm no expert. And the fuel tank switching pipe appears to go right here. So as they show this, okay, yeah, it's coming in from the back side like so. So this little flange, the bigger part should go down in this direction, like that. Let's see, I have a mounting spot. Okay. That's interesting. Interesting. Put a little CA. Attach that back up there. And there we go. Hit that with the always awesome activator. Now I will say, even sometimes hitting activator is not always instant. There's like a little notch on that. I guess it's supposed to be like that. At least I hope so. Because I didn't do anything to it. Alright. Now, we're actually going to attach this to our wall that we've been building. So that's pretty cool. Oh my gosh, I thought that was like this, but it's actually like this, orientation-wise. So, yep, we're just going to set this like so. There's 3 pegs, 3 holes, and that just snaps in there. We're going to glue it, but it just fits in there like so. That's really cool. I love these details. I'm a sucker for details. Show me something with lots of details and I'm like, yes, I want to make that, because I love details. I just enjoy modeling. I'm a modeler. At least that's what they tell me. Alright. Okay, no, we are putting the light in. Hey, we have to put the light in. Yay, we have to put the light in. So, take our little light, put it right through here, just like last time, and it's going to angle. Oh wait, hold on, like that. It kind of like pops into the place at the angle it's supposed to be, which is, again, beautiful. I love this design. This is very well done. I do appreciate this. So, there we are, and that is that stage 25 complete. Alright. We are on to the last stage of this pack, which is, this is pack 3. So this is stage 26, the cockpit assembly. And this is what we have left. We have a few more parts here. And this is actually the, this is like an entryway or something within the cockpit. So, yeah, really cool. Let's see how we put this together. Alright, so we have our oxygen tanks that are going to get glued in place. So we have this set of 2 that actually goes right here. No, wait. Yeah, there's a hole. Hold on, right here. Yep. Goes right here. You can see there's a one little peg there on the edge. Goes right there. And then it actually goes against this little mounting spot here. We're just going to hit this with some CA so it stays in place. Real nice. Hit it with some activator so I don't glue myself to the model when I touch that spot later, because, you know, it's going to happen. And then we have this guy, and this one here seems to go here. Right, so we have this little peg here. Slide that on like so, and let's hit that with some glue too. Little oxygen tanks. I love that there's, you know, stuff that's pre-painted already on this model. Not that we can't paint it up. I mean, I'm sure Agora is all for us modifying if we want to, but it's really cool as is. And again, I don't know how much you're going to see them. So going on the front side of this, so this is like facing away from the pilot. The pilot sits right in here from what I can see. And we have these pilot seat frame pieces. So it looks like, yeah, I see right and left. These can be a little confusing because these parts are really, really small. And like you tell, this one here kind of comes down into the right. So that's the one that is the left side, but on the drawing it's, or on the instructions, it's on the right hand side of the drawing, but it's the left pilot seat frame piece support. So we're going to just glue right here. So you can see how the nut, it kind of comes down, like it has a downward slope to it, and the peg is on the inside. That's how we want to align that one, and how we know it goes on that side. So this is very important to know for later, because if we screw it up now after we glue it in place, it's going to make our life much more difficult you know, in the next couple weeks when we get the next stage, because this is the last stage of this pack. So I think in pack 4 we will be finishing the cockpit and starting a wing, because I actually did look ahead and looked at pack 4, and oh yeah, I'm excited because there's a wing and this thing's gonna start really coming together. So here we go. That's it for stage 26. That's it for this pack. I mean, just look at what all we did. Like, just zoom out so you guys can see how much we did during this pack. I mean, Agora does such a great job of giving you tons of content in each month's pack, and I really appreciate that about their business model. I mean, look at all these parts that we put together today, and this is essentially half of the cockpit, and we'll do the other half in the next stage. So far, after 3 packs, we have our finished engine, cowling, propeller assembly, and we're starting the cockpit. I do have that one thing with the machine gun that I need to get fixed, which I already sent a note to Agora about, so I'm sure they'll have that rectified pretty soon. So, that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. A special shout out to my patrons. I'll make sure I have your names running right about here. For those of you that don't know, I do have a Patreon where I post updates on my progress of all my builds every day if I can. Every day I'm down here anyway, I'll take some photos and post it, so you're more than welcome to check that out so you don't have to wait between videos to see updates from my workbench. Again, thank you guys for the support. If you like what you saw today, you like this content, you want to see more, hey, just please hit that like button, subscribe so you can see the rest of this series, and leave me a comment in the comment. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about these partwork models? This is something that's completely new to me. Like I said, if it's new to you, Agora has this model available as a subscription. You can pay a monthly cost, and don't get me wrong, they're more expensive than a typical plastic model, but you can see there's a lot of electronics, there's lights, there's sounds, and this thing actually has a base that allows it to look like it's flying and stuff like that. So definitely worth checking out on Agora's website. Again, these are more expensive, but it's kind of a slow build up over a year. Totally worth it so far, in my opinion. So again, don't forget to check out their website and also leave me a comment. Thank you guys, and we'll see you for pack 4.